Next week, a Cleveland police constable faces a misconduct hearing over multiple allegations of inappropriate behaviour and sexual comments. Surprise, surprise, the cretin has been afforded anonymity and is being referred to as Officer A. Officer A allegedly made a series of inappropriate and unprofessional comments towards female probationary police who he was supposed to be training, including that one was going home to use a sex toy and that another had a sexy nurse outfit. Of course, because there's fuck all sexy about the plodge uniform. I mentioned the other day about this being made to feel uncomfortable. A constable is said to have made a female colleague feel uncomfortable with words that he said, and I said this is a dangerous road to be taking. Well, Officer A is said to have made a colleague feel uncomfortable by allegedly being physically inappropriate and sexualised towards them. Now, I'm sure if it was that bad, then it would fall under a current piece of legislation, but they're using this uncomfortable word to describe it. I mean, I feel uncomfortable all the time when in the presence of the police. Can I make a complaint every time I'm near one and see them face misconduct proceedings over that? Unlikely. But, for example, that incident that made someone feel uncomfortable is said to have been during a self-defence class where Officer A pushed his groin into a colleague's arse whilst she was bent over. Now, to me, that would be a sexual assault, as in a non-consensual intimate touching of another. That's a bit more than making somebody feel uncomfortable. So why is he not facing court for a sexual assault? Anyway, the Cleveland Police's misconduct notice states that the officer is alleged to have breached the standards of professional behaviour in respect of authority, respect and courtesy, equality and diversity and discreditable conduct. He is accused of making sexual comments about women and behaved inappropriately towards female students who were undertaking training with him on various dates between September the 9th, 2020 and October the 15th, 2020. The force lists 12 alleged incidents relating to the gross misconduct hearing. Officer A made a comment about Officer X suggesting that she was going to use a sex toy when she got home. Officer A told Officer X that she liked being woken up in the morning with a sex act. Officer A suggested Officer X had a sexy nurse outfit at home. Officer A made comments to Officer X about female celebrities' breasts, stating that he would cop a fill. Having completed a bleep test, Officer X told Officer A that he was fit because he had gone on for ages, to which he replied, "I can do that in bed too," or similar words. Officer A made a comment about breasts to Officer Y when she was talking about her primary school teachers, saying the question is, Officer Y, did she have a nice pair, or similar words. Officer A sent text messages to Officer Y suggesting she was going to use her handcuffs on her fella, making her feel uncomfortable. In Officer Y's presence, Officer A said to a male officer, "I know you've got a girlfriend and that, but do you ever walk down the street and see some fit lass and give it a proper look?" or similar words. Officer A upset Officer Z by making a comment about what he thought were self-harm scars on her arms. Officer A made a sexual comment to Officer Z stating, "I don't like banging 3 birds at once, I only do twosomes," or similar words, making her feel uncomfortable. When paired with Officer Z in a domestic abuse exercise, Officer A commented upon her appearance by looking her up and down and saying, "Well, I'm fucking punching there, aren't I?" or similar words, and laughed, making her feel uncomfortable. And Officer A made a comment to Officer Z about her having sticky fingers, and laughed, making Officer Z feel as though his comment was sexual. Alongside Officer A's clear habit of being inappropriate verbally, the notice also says that Officer A behaved in the following physically inappropriate and or sexualised manner towards Officer Y on various dates between September the 1st and October the 15th, 2020. These allegations are: Officer A tried to tickle Officer Y around her stomach area. On 2 occasions, Officer A physically lifted Officer Y up in the air despite her telling him not to. On 1 occasion, Officer A came up behind Officer Y as she was standing with her hands on her hips and tried to place her in a restraint hold. And during a self-defence training class, Officer A pushed his groin into Officer Y's bottom while she was bent over. Officer A's hearing will be held on November the 21st from 10 AM, so I will keep an eye out for the outcome. But I have to say, like Carrick and Cousins, that's an impressive list of fuck-ups, and I think it goes to show that these people's actions and behaviour is often ignored until it gets to a point so serious they have no choice but to act. But the problem with that is the victims. In this case, other plod, but in many cases members of the public who are thought of simply as collateral damage for their perverted and misguided ideas of how they should act as a police constable.